Welcome to Liminal Writing, where we write and talk about the in-between spaces of that which have happened and the spaces that are yet to be done. Liminal writing is about our threshold spaces and what we've uncovered.
We started in the early days of 2021 when our world was in lockdown. Inspired by Natalie Goldberg's wild mind approach, we gave ourselves these guideposts: timed writings, free flow, the use of trigger phrases, which we collected into a list which we called our inspiration bay. We said, be brave, no excuses, no editing. So here we are, our works and our stories. Thank you for joining us on Liminal Writing.
It's a dress.
So Liminal Writing session on the 9th of June, 2023. Our trigger phrase for today is from Alice Walker, foreword for Barracoon. Those who love us never leave us alone in our grief. Background on this, Lee?
The foreword was written by Alice Walker for a book called Barracoon. And Barracoon is a novel of the life of the last known African-American who came from the ship Khalida. And the author of the book of Barracoon is the famous African-American writer, Zora Neale Hurston.
Interesting. Okay. So the phrase is, those who love us never leave us alone in our grief. I read first.
Yes. Yeah, you go first.
Often without words, they remain by our side, feeling our grief, our pain, our loss, but also filling in that space where laughter brings solace, even as brief interludes between numbness and tears. Sometimes with a touch, a firm reminder saying, I am here. Those who love us would never leave us alone. Even as we ask for solitude, they'd be outside the door waiting. They'd be listening for our whispered cries, asking them to never leave us alone. Your turn.
To have that presence. Here's mine. Those who love us never leave us alone with our grief. On my shoulders, a blanket, frayed of muted greens, maroon, and washed out gray. Dyed from plants, squeezed out of their life to give theirs unto this fabric. The blanket, a sacred weight of memories, whispered conversations, laughter, and the grace of days with her. It used to be that this blanket was always out, on the bed, draped on a chair, on me, sun gilt, love infused. Now she's gone, the mercy of days without her, and the blanket folded and taking rest in the cupboard. Yon.
So my question was, is that a real object, that blanket that you so nicely describe it? I like the imagery of it.
Yes, it's a blanket that I've had with me since about 1989. I was still in CCP.
So it's a weave, a local weave.
Yeah, from the mountain, from Bontoc. Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember the price that I paid for it because it was one of the most expensive pieces of fabric
that you've ever
on a government employee salary. Then I paid about 900 pesos then for that blanket.
Yeah, so, that's a lot of money then.
But I found it really beautiful. And so I've always had it.
It's comforting to you.
It is. It is.
And still keep it.
Yeah, for sure. For me, I look at it as an heirloom piece.
Very good. I was thinking, when I wrote, one of the things I was thinking is that I actually struggled to find an experience that actually spoke directly to the quote. Those who love us never leave us alone in our grief. Mainly, I guess because grief to me feels so personal and almost like it's
so lonely. I cannot see how that others can really, you know, get it, understand.
Understand that grief.
I don't even
Okay.
have words for it. Yeah, I
Huh.
don't. It's so I think each person's experiencing of grief is
Uh,
so unique and
yes.
it's so complex.
Yeah.
Whatever the person they lost or object or pet, even it's something I respect that a lot,
Yeah.
even with others, because
Oh.
I really feel that it's really something that you cannot. Yeah, I don't think we can really understand fully each other's grief. Does that make sense?
It does. To me, intellectually, it does.
Mm.
And I say intellectually because I'm not too sure emotionally if I've ever felt grief as you describe it. Like it's very personal,
Well,
very heavy.
yeah,
I guess because the grief that I've had was both from the passing of my parents. So those were the
right,
two
yeah,
huge chunks.
yeah.
Um,
That's right. But
but
I guess, yeah, because the first thing actually that jumped to my mind when we were about to write was, what does grief exactly mean? Like, what's the context of grief?
yeah,
For me, especially recently, I guess, grief has been about the things of my past, right? It's not about
yeah,
people I lost, not
yes,
necessarily. It's about phases of my life, experiences that innocence was lost to me.
yeah,
My
yeah,
youth was lost, my childhood and my youth, and things that were lost to
yes.
me. So I guess that's maybe where I'm coming from. And I'm struggling even now to
Mm,
put words into it.
yeah.
Yeah.
For this particular exercise, because we kind of like wasn't we didn't zero in on this trigger phrase
No, we
almost
kind
immediately.
of
We took
went,
some time, right?
yeah.
So how did it start for you of this is how I'm going to write about it? I'm just trying to understand like what was the first thing that came to your mind or a feeling that rose up
Yeah,
that connected you to
that's
that.
why I said often without words, because I think to me, the times where grief was about losing someone,
Yeah.
the most, the most like the most sympathy or love even that I felt was with not what people said,
Yeah.
but what I felt having them present, and that's with me in that situation. And
Okay.
also, I guess the where I then put in about laughter is because it's also very much, especially in Filipino culture, I think. I don't know, maybe in others too, but it's almost like when you grieve,
Yeah.
also when someone dies or you lose someone, we have a way of coping with our grief
Mm.
through humor, through
Mhm.
laughing.
Yes.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, I find that it's not disrespectful.
Uh-huh.
It's almost
Uh-huh.
its own way a celebration of the person's life or the joy. It's a reminder of that there were happy times, or we
Uh-huh.
also laughed with that person. We also had joy. So I kind of, yeah, I wanted to also say that the best companions, those who I knew gave me love during my times of grief, were
Mm.
people who also made me laugh in between the times that I would be in sorrow.
Downright, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Crying. Mm. Yeah, I say that. Galing, no, it's not necessarily the words, but
No,
it's how they show up for you,
yeah, because a lot of
how they
people
are with you.
are actually awkward, I find. They don't know
Um,
what to say.
oh,
One of the things I don't like,
mm,
I don't like, but I just feel, but now I'm forgiving about that because they really just don't know what to say. But things like
oh,
how you feel, I don't think that's something you say to someone who is grieving, because
oh,
really,
yeah,
but I don't take it against them, but it's just that,
oh,
what do you really say, right?
yeah.
The other one I'm not sure about is the line that they're in a better place.
Oh my God. Yes.
I don't
Uh-oh.
like it
Um,
because it's like, or especially if it's someone who's close to you, really. It's like when you're grieving to be told that, I'm like, well,
but I
at that
lost
point
them.
in
Right?
time, the best place you would love it's with you, right? With
Yes.
us here. So when
Yes.
the better places, I'm like, what? Yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
a lot of them say that.
Yeah. I don't know if it's culturally or maybe it is
It's so
humanity as a whole. We're not taught how to recognize and be with our big emotions.
true.
No?
That's true. Yeah, I think it's universal.
Oh.
We are not. Yeah, it's a difficult thing, a difficult emotion. Yeah.
Mm.
So so I was a bit conflicted, I guess, when writing this because
Uh-oh.
there were two kinds for me in terms of what grief was I going to talk about. The
Uh-oh.
grief of losing someone or the grief of missing out, in my context.
Yeah. For
But
me, the way that it started out, I reread it just before we started writing. And somehow it came upon me, it's just the word, the blanket, right about the blanket.
why is that kaya?
I don't
Because
know. I'm not too sure.
it's
But
comforting.
yes, yeah.
I guess
Um,
you're
ah,
you're seeking comfort.
comfort and value, meaning the equation of that blanket, I value it.
Mm,
And so there's a correlation between the relationship that I had
yeah,
and the feeling of loss
yeah.
for that one. So maybe that's how it's kind of like
At
intertwined
least your
that
blanket
way.
will never leave you alone.
Oh
Mm.
God, yes, like a dog.
Okay, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
No,
possibly.
but the other one is also my line there about even as we ask for solitude. Why I'm saying that because sometimes you do need. At least me, I think, or I guess a lot of people, no, they would they would need some time also to themselves.
On their own.
Oh, I guess it's a personality thing. I
Mm.
don't know. I would think that you also need some when it's a bit too much, the crowds are too much. Sometimes you have to go into yourself too. And some really good friends
Mm.
know it when you say, leave me alone.
Mm-mm.
But
Mm-mm.
what you really mean is, I just need time to go inside myself, but don't
Uh,
leave me alone.
yes, 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 yes. Uh,
I'd want to know I could reach you when I feel like I'm drowning.
yes.
But give me this quiet time, but be there. Like
Mm-mm.
that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's
No,
what I meant the last part that even as we ask for solitude, they'd be outside the
I
door waiting.
yeah, that's true. Because that means that they never left you. I mean, they know that it's your own pace, it's your own
Yeah.
journey. They can't necessarily take the weight for you,
All
right?
Also those who really, really know you will know
Mm.
when you say leave me alone, when you mean it or you don't. Because
Ah,
uh,
uh-uh,
yeah.
uh-uh,
Sometimes we're like, leave me alone. It doesn't really mean leave me alone.
uh-uh.
It
Yeah.
means, yeah, be here, but just be quiet or something. Or there's
Mm-mm.
also a leave me alone that really means leave them alone.
They
So,
kind of know to like when to check back in and say,
yeah.
hey, come back. We need you back here. So, and somehow they know na parang already na rin siya. Parang luto na yung
my
proseso niya.
my
Alright.
watchful eye, like when someone is like, I'm thinking my image is like someone from the shore, someone swimming out to the ocean, but you keep an eye and seeing that the
Ah,
head is still bobbing up or they're in
ah,
distress, but
yeah,
you're just watchful.
yeah. No, yeah, yeah. That's a good image. Yeah.
Yeah, that there.
Nice.
Love us, never leave us alone in our grief.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool.
Very cool. Okay, I'll stop
All right.
recording.